It's that familiar time again, back to school. But something unfamiliar is happening in this 5th grade Florida classroom.
Who is ready to stand up as a team and be a lawyer in a group of lawyers and defend their case with this?
It's a whole new approach to education.
It works because 2 plus 50 equals 50 plus 2, and all they did was switch the add-ins, but the sum is still the same.
Very often, the strategy is to have students talk about things with other students in the classroom. That's what happens in real life.
Mary Ellen Elia is the superintendent of the Hillsborough County School District in Tampa, where K-12 learning is being transformed by a new set of high academic standards called the Common Core.
The Common Core raises the bar for students' performance. We have to challenge our students in ways that have them interact more actively in learning.
Florida is one of 45 states in Washington, D.C. that initially adopted the Common Core, which outlines what students must know at every grade level. Launched by state officials, the Core was backed by the federal government, offering grant money to states signing on. How would you define Common Core?
I think a focus on critical thinking skills and making sure that young people are graduating from high school truly prepared to be successful in college.
We met Arnie Duncan, Secretary of Education in Nashville, Tennessee. He was on a 7-city back-to-school bus tour, spreading the word about education reform.
How can our students fulfill their tremendous academic and social potential if we don't have high expectations?
Why the need for reform of America's schools?
So many states, their standards were so low that kids who had worked hard, who had played by the rules, huge percentages of them weren't ready to be successful in college.
Or the world. The latest international exam results in math, science, and reading show American kids are below average or middle of the pack.
I want to keep high-wage, high-skilled jobs in this country. Businesses will go where the most educated workforce is. I want that to be right here in the United States.
The goal of helping kids learn more in the classroom is something that everyone can agree on, but here's the hard lesson. It's not so easy to figure out how to improve education. Common Core is now at the core of a heated national controversy.
Is there anything we as parents can do to drop Common Core? Is it up to us? Is it up to you? Is it up to the state?
Well, let me say this.
If we get enough people after it, can we drop it?
At parent information meetings around Tampa, Mary Ellen Elia sees the opposition face to face. Some, like this man, complain about new methods of teaching.
We do not like the gyrations that they go through in math.
Others have a different focus.
Common Core has become a political agenda.
Political.
Yeah. There are factions that believe that, Common Core is trying to take over students' minds, that it's trying to influence them in one political position or another.
And then there's the perception among some conservatives that the federal government is overreaching into state affairs. That may be one reason why Florida renamed its standards the Florida Standards after making several changes, like the addition of cursive writing.
But is it mainly a change in name only to get away from kind of the toxic Common Core?
Yes, it probably is to an extent.
Other states like North Carolina, South Carolina, Missouri, Indiana, and Oklahoma are either rethinking the core or have already dropped it. And then there's New York State, where our story takes an unlikely turn.
A lot of people think a lot of the criticism is from conservatives, from Tea Party groups.
In New York and California, now these are two very blue states, in 1 year, the Common Core has gone from majority approval to majority disapproval.
Carol Burris is the principal of Southside High School on New York's Long Island, one of the top-rated schools in the country.
There's nothing wrong with having standards. Schools should have standards, states should have standards, but they gotta be good standards and they have to be realistic standards.
And you think these are neither one?
These are neither.
A self-described progressive who campaigned for President Obama, Burris has now found common ground on the Common Core with her political opposites. That's thanks in part to test questions that she says are too hard or just plain confusing, like this one for first graders.
Which is a related subtraction sentence?
Well, these are all adding.
I have no idea. And to be honest with you, I still haven't figured it out.
After raising her concerns in a letter to the president, Burris got a reply from Mr. Obama, disagreeing with her, but praising her school.
Where have you been keeping this letter now?
In a closet.
A closet.
In a closet.
And why? Why in the closet? Why not hang it up?
I just can't bear to look at it. It would just be too much of a reminder of the hope that I once had that is now gone.
That hopelessness turned to anger last fall when Secretary Duncan made a controversial remark. Duncan stated that white suburban moms are opposing the core because it shows their child isn't as brilliant as they thought.
That was the most incredibly insulting statement I have ever heard a Secretary of Education make. And, you know, he walked back a little bit of the remark, but not enough.
You made some comments that the people who are upset about this are the white suburban moms who are seeing maybe their kids aren't doing as well as they thought, their schools aren't as good as they thought they were.
I made one sentence that I didn't say perfectly, and I apologize for that. But for me, the goal again is to have high standards for everyone.
But is that goal even possible?
Do you think Common Core will survive?
No, I don't. I think parents are going to continue to push back. So I guess you could say that I'm doing my best to make what I think is inevitable happen faster.
But back in Tampa, supporters see something else as inevitable. Nationwide, classrooms that look like this one.
I always thought the standard algorithm was the only way to go. So we're stepping outside of the box.
We have been improving standards in this country in education since 1680. I don't know of a parent that doesn't want their child to be well prepared for college or career when they walk out of high school.
Because I added 41 3 times and got 123. Questions?